What if success in hospitality and design wasn't just about creativity? It's about creating sustainable experiences. Do you believe in the concept of work-life balance?
There's nothing like that. Something must give. When my kids were younger, my morning, afternoon was with them. I do the school runs, I drop off, I pick up, we do homework. I never used to miss any school activity. And then in the evening, I don't leave till they go to bed.
What if it required a deep understanding of people, spaces, and culture, more than just a great idea?
So that's where you need people. You need good people who can help you accelerate your business.
The journey to building an empire is often unconventional, requiring resilience and a clear vision.
As they grew older, they become very independent. So now they don't really need mommy to do homework anymore. I can spend more time also building and expanding the business.
You will learn from Aderonke Bamgbade, a leader in hospitality, wine culture, and interior design, how to build and scale multiple brands with passion and precision while staying ahead in a constantly evolving industry.
I don't miss summer. And then I tell the boys, I spent 6 weeks with you guys. We've gone everywhere you say you want to go. You've seen everything you want to see. I'm going back
To work.
and they understand.
Mommy has to work.
Mommy's got to work.
I want to take you back to before LH,
Okay.
Liquid Hub or Liquid Hub Privé. Is that a mother brand?
Yes, there is another brand called Spronks Creations Limited.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Interesting. Okay. I think if I'm not wrong, I started Spronks in 2006 or 2007. And I found myself in this space that someone wanted me to supply drinks for a party.
Okay.
And it was someone's 50th birthday. And so someone said, you know what, why don't you just go and have this conversation? You have all these bartenders that have worked with you in a hotel space before. I think you should go and meet this person and have this conversation. So I went there. Interestingly, they just wanted like a cocktail service.
Okay.
That was the first thing they called me for. So I went to meet this gentleman and we had a meeting and he says, you're doing this for us. Can you also help supply us drinks for this party? And I'm looking for crystal champagne. So I said, of course, I can find crystal champagne for you. So I put the calls through and took all these people for crystal. And then I found crystal. And I remember sitting there and, your crystal seems cheapo. Are you sure it's not fake? So I looked at him like,
okay.
So I looked at him, I said, cheap? How much did they give it for? So he gave me a figure. I pretended like I was dialing out again. And I was calling this person. I'm like, Mr. Maker, are you sure this crystal is this price? And I said, oh, you meant sister? I was like, okay, but I wasn't dialing. I was just going to make extra money if this person was doubting that what I was going to supply him is fake. And he said, because that's the price that...
Oh, so right there and there you changed the price.
I made 120K extra per carton.
Oh, wow.
And then they ordered so many things. And after the procurement, the question became, who's going to serve it? So I said, okay, I can find people to serve it. I can do this. I'll just take home everything. And I called my sister and said, you know what? I don't know. I think I'm going to bite more than I can chew here, basically. So she said, what is it? I said, okay, we can always do it. I'll help you and all that. So we called a few people around. She helped call people who are like professional waiters. I used to do supply hotels back in the day, so I had guys in the hotels as well. So I just called a few people and said, you know what? We're setting up a cocktail bar. We're setting up a drinks bar and all that. And that's how we formed Spronks.
Interesting.
So we from Spronks Boysort Palais, which was like Spronks Drinks Palace.
Interesting.
And so we started activating mobile bar service for people, brands.
Okay.
A lot of brands actually would call me and say this. And then I started getting trained to become a master bartender.
Oh.
And then became a sommelier as well. So it was more from having that social bar activation for events and all of that the all Spronks thinking.
Interesting. So you came from Supplying hotel drinks.
Yes. No, that actually showed. The story goes farther than that.
Okay, I'd like to hear that.
The
I'd like
story
to hear
got
that.
farther than that. So I got my first job as a brand executive for a South African wine producing company. And I was to manage Nigeria and a couple of West African countries as well.
As a first job.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's interesting.
I know.
That's such an opportunity coming straight from school.
Yeah. It was. My sister had this friend, and she said, "Okay, I know my sister. She can do this. Why don't you speak to her?"
Okay.
And then that's how I got the job.
Interesting.
And so I remember having to fly from Lagos to Ghana a lot
Okay.
just to see how the market is doing back then. As a result, I started supplying wines to the hotels and restaurant and bar and everything.
Interesting.
So I became like the brand. Yeah, it was like a brand manager job, so to say. I had to develop the trade in and help the brands get into places and all that. So that gave me that foundation, basically. So that's how I started.
Interesting. And he introduced you to places.
And also to the wine culture. Because at that point, I didn't have a choice but to
Get into
get
that.
into
You had to know what you were
I never used to
selling.
drink, yeah.
Interesting.
I was like the only non-alcoholic drinker in my
In your house, and now you're sommelier.
drink for a living. I drink for a living.
I wish I could say that.
I know.
It sounds like a fun life.
It
Your
was-
job.
Yeah, it is fun. I love it. So that's how I started. And I did that for about 3 years.
Right.
Working and building the brand. And then that opportunity came
Okay.
for me to do
yeah.
that gig. And of course, I was making serious money. I'm like, okay, I'm done with this brand thing.
This journey was you got introduced into wine.
Yeah.
You had to supply for the company you
Yeah,
were working
yes,
for.
so, yeah.
This introduced you to hotels,
hotels,
and people.
people.
Then an
The
opportunity came.
yeah.
Where did the interior design part come in?
Oh my goodness. So this is my father's DNA working. I've always loved design. My dad was an architect. So I used to,
right.
growing up, I would see him sit in the studio, sketching and doing stuff
Right,
and all that. I mean,
okay.
I remember from like age 3, but I never really got to do it up until 2008.
Okay.
And like my bar activation thing, an opportunity came. I had another sister who had a friend and client that was
Thank God for
setting up.
sisters.
I know, I owe it to them completely. I had another sister. I've got another sister. She stood there, who had a friend that was trying to set up a new space. And because they know that I love to do design, I'm really good when it comes to using my hands,
Right.
cutting wood and sanding wood and
Right.
stuff like that. She just said, why don't you go and meet Abu? I think he's trying to furnish his space and all that. And I had this friend of mine, Tunji. So we both went together to pitch. He's a creative as well.
Okay.
And then he said, oh no, he wants to buy stuff from Italy. I'm like, it's a bit too far. Why are we going to buy stuff? So we went around and we started shopping and picking stuff and all that. And that's how I started that. But my core is actually in production. I love starting and building from scratch. I reclaim wood.
Yes, because I was going to go to that. If you visit Liquid
Hub,
Hub,
yeah.
for example, you have tree stumps,
stumps, yeah.
even the tables made of wood. I remember you once told a story about how you used to go to, what's this wood market called?
Amu Market. Yes, I still do.
Interesting.
Even in Abuja, I go to Day Market.
Do you find it therapeutic?
Yes,
doing
it is
that?
actually. As a creative, you find so much joy, and I'm doing a space right now. I'm redoing my garden in Abuja, and it's the joy of seeing how, from conceiving that whole idea and concept, and seeing how it's being put together and all laid out. I'm like, okay, this is good. You find it very therapeutic. It's a thing that you derive joy from. But I love the process of finding dead stuff and bringing them back to life. So you have people fall trees, cut down these trees, and then they chop them into pieces for firewood. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. We sell one of a round table slab now for God knows how much. And I'm like, from being a dead tree.
Oh, so
just
you
lying there.
make products now?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, that's
I do.
amazing.
We make product, we design spaces for people as well. We take on projects and I love renovation work. how you break down a wall and then turn it into something else. I love it. It gives me joy.
So how do you find a balance? Blending these two. I wouldn't say they're separate worlds. But in a way, they are separate.
Yeah.
It's hospitality.
Yeah.
You're entertaining people or creating a space where people get entertained.
Yeah.
Then at the same time, there's this creative part of you that's given to building. And how do you balance both?
So I think my hospitality business now, I've gotten into a place where it's enjoyment for me.
That's fair.
I do all my hard work in the day when I'm building, when either I'm at the factory or I'm seeing some of my artisans do some work, or I'm sourcing for wood, or I'm sourcing for material myself. I spend my day doing a lot of that, or sitting down, conceptualizing and all of that. And then in the evening, I'm just, okay, let's go and hang
chilled.
out.
You see, that's so cool.
Let's go and make people happy.
That's so cool.
Let me go and hang out with my people. So the only thing that's taking me back now is because we now have a branch in Abuja.
Okay.
That now requires my presence. Otherwise, I would do my construction, interior, market runs in the day.
Daytime getting dirty.
You will find me in mushy, in the shorts and the boots or your trainers. I have gone, and I still have to balance that with school runs and all of that.
Amazing.
Yeah. But so in the evening, I just go in and like, okay, I mean, where's the party at?
What super women are made of. How have you been able to balance that with motherhood?
Oh, big question. We funkifying things now, saying that there's a balance between parenthood, being an entrepreneur, being a successful entrepreneur, and being a mother. I'm not sure you can really find a balance.
Thank you. Do you believe in the concept of work-life balance?
There's nothing like work. There's nothing like that. Something must give. Something must give at some point. At some point. So what will give it will determine by how you want to structure it. There was a time in my life that when my kids were younger, my mornings, afternoon was with them. Would always be with them. I do the school runs, I drop off, I pick up, we do homework, we do we never used to miss any school activity. And then in the evening, I don't leave till they go to bed.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's where you need people. You need good people who can help you accelerate your business and put it also on the right path. And you've built it, but you also can't do everything yourself. Yes, so business gave at that point, but the good thing is I had a trusted person that could help with my business at that particular period. As I grew older, they become very independent. So now they don't really need mommy to do homework anymore. Then you find other people also, find tutor, find teachers, find a maid. And I think I am blessed to have my mother.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. So my mom had to leave America to come stay with me.
Wow.
And just to be there for the boys.
Wow.
So if we want to call that balance, I don't know. Because
it's support system.
My mother had to leave her comfort zone to come stay here. And then I can do other things. I can spend more time also building and expanding the business and all that. I still find a way to say, okay, yes, I dedicate this weekend. It's the boys and I. Holidays, I don't miss. Summer, I always tell people, don't look for me for 6 weeks. I'm all for the boys.
Family time.
And then I tell the boys also, okay, I've spent 6 weeks with you guys. We've gone everywhere you say you want to go. You've seen everything you want to see. I'm going back
to work.
And they understand. I don't know if that's what people call balance. I don't know. But something must give at some point.
Yeah.
Something must give. There's nothing like work-life balance. It's either you're working or you're not.
I actually quite agree with you, especially from the perspective of we spend most of our time chasing after certain goals. It could be in career or work or whatnot. And quite frankly, everything is woven into everything. There's no human being that is all about work or all about family or about friendship or all about enjoyment. You do enjoyment for a living, but then there's a goal attached to it. So trying to find a balance within that kind of... It's almost as if you're trying to seed certain things from yourself?
To find a balance, you have to. Something have to give. So you have to tell yourself, okay, I want to build this thing. And especially if you're driven, you can't balance that.
Something is driving. So it's almost as if something innate, or in some cases external,
It's
driving
pushing you to basically do what you need to do. There are people who can start a business and they don't need to scale the business. Maybe they can find work-life balance somehow. So you're not thinking of expansion, you're not thinking of multiple places, you're just okay building what it is and that's it. You're not trying to scale up, you're just fine. Whatever revenue you're making, as long as it can take care of me and take care of this, and you're okay. But if you look beyond what that small space or that small thing you're doing and you want to scale up, you're being driven by a purpose. You're being driven by passion. You're being driven by something else. There's no way you can say, I can be contained in that small space.
Exactly.
You can't. Let me give you a classic example. When we had branches only in Lagos, it was easier.
How many branches do you have in Lagos?
2.
Okay.
It was easier because they're on the same road. They're both on Remains. The boys' school was on Mekuen.
Okay.
We lived somewhere around Ikoyi as well. So everything I did was within
a
same
circle.
geographical space. Between 8 minutes from my house to Liquid-Up is 8 minutes drive. From Liquid-Up to the boys' school is another 6 minutes drive. From school back home, it's another, well, with traffic on Bordelon, maybe 10 minutes. So it was easier to do that. But right now, as I speak, I have to pack my bags again and go back to Abuja. I
Now
only
you
just
scale
go
to
back
another
on Friday.
city.
So you scale up to another city. And if you're not there, so we know what happens to businesses when you're not present. Especially, I have just gotten myself burnt also. So I now shuttle between Lagos and Abuja a lot. So I leave on Mondays. I come back on Friday. So I'm missing 4 days.
With the kids.
Also missing 4 days with the business here in Lagos. So you must find a way to say, okay, guess what? If I'm not there, I must have people to help me instill the same value that I want in the kids and find support system, tutors, teachers, moms, sisters, and say, okay, please, can you help me take a look at what they're doing and all of that. And some days you start feeling guilty yourself that you're not there enough. And now because my boys are very vocal, they're like, Mommy, when are you going? I'm like, oh, I'm leaving tomorrow. I say, oh, wow, again. And then you come back and like in the evening you're packing up to go to work again. And so you really have to go. And it's because the way I do it, we deliberate over this thing. I put it on the table and I ask myself, for the life that you want, the things that you want, if I don't do it, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Are you happy not having those lives? They're like, oh, no. I said, and if you want those things, then this
Mommy has to work.
Mommy's got to work.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You did mention getting burnt. What challenges generally would you say you face, especially in hospitality?
In hospitality, you would have to be. Actually, in most businesses, it's just the people. Usually the people. Yeah. The people. And not even right now. Our value system is already been eroded. And
as a people, within the hospitality
as a
space.
people. As a people.
Interesting.
If you ask any business person, any entrepreneur what their biggest challenge, they will tell you it's people. The people can make you and the people can kill you. You can find some good people that will help you build your business. They understand what you're trying to achieve with that business. And then you find some that are just set out to kill you and kill all the hard work that you've put into the space. Sometimes they come in, yes, we get it. We want to be part of this. They come in with good drive and all that. One way or the other, they derail from that purpose.
What have you found with those kind of people? Those who seems like they understand it, they get it, they're about to run with it. What then happens?
Influence.
How do they derail?
Influence.
Influences within the business or
No, outside. It's an external influence also.
Okay.
We tend to take this young people looking for fast way through life. We take it for granted. And we have to do better as a people. And that sort of peer pressure, external influence from what they see around and what they perceive as okay, would help one way or the other form them into a different person without them even knowing. Because that's what they see around them. You can only do little. They're with you in your space for a short period of time. You don't know the friends that they have outside. You don't know the kind of things that they are exposed to outside. You don't even know about their habits. All is, their work, worst case scenario, 9-hour shift. That's all. But the external influences that they have, you wouldn't know anything about it. So I'll give you a classic example. I've got a manager that I moved from Lagos to Abuja. Actually, I moved quite a few people. 2 of them stayed back. And when this guy started with me, I looked at him, I figured, super smart guy, really good guy. All you need to do is give him opportunity and he will strive. And I said to him, with what we do, with this space, you will be in touch with the movers and shakers of this country, people that matters. I mean, and that alone is a network that money can buy.
Exactly.
And you will be able to make something great out of yourself. And I say, if this is the only thing I promise you, is I will make sure that you stand in front of kings and princes of this world. And we laughed about it and all of that. And of course, it was super personable, very hardworking. He got it. He knew what we were all on to. He knew what we were doing.
Was he a new hire? You hired him from Lagos? So he's been working with you
He worked with me in Lagos for 2 years. 2 years and 6 months, and I moved him. So he got it. So when the need arose that we needed to move someone from Lagos to Abuja, I just said, there's an opportunity here for you. Come over, be the GM there and all that. And he took it on. Accommodation, vehicle, the things that you would expect and all that. What I didn't realize is he had a gambling problem.
Oh, that's a personal demon.
Yeah. He had a gambling issue. And the way our structure is also set up is we try as much as possible to not do cash involvement and all of that. The cash O policy. I try to, in your head as a business person, you're thinking you'll have a structure going for you. Something is working for you. But this guy found a way around the system, sabotaged the system, and still found a way to cheat the business and defrauded the business. During the investigation, when I'm looking through all the documents and the bank statements and all that, and I saw where the money went, I wept for him.
You wept for him?
Yes, I wept for him.
Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah,
what do you mean?
You're looking at a young man who has so much in him and so much to give. Who could, smart, tall, good looking, personable.
He was full of potential.
Extremely. And then you've one thing. So from that bad habit, it moved also into drugs.
Ooh.
So you're not dealing with one demon anymore, you're dealing with 2 demons.
No.
And then if you ask also is the things that he sees around, it became okay. And I'm like, that the brand that he got comfortable. He got comfortable and got influenced by the society, by the things that he saw people do. Because for a lot of people, that's how to feel cool. And to belong to that cool gang, you have to step up, and yield certain values to basically step in there.
Oh no.
And he did a lot of damage to the business. So actually, that's one of the reasons why I spend more time in Abuja now. Because before now, my guy understands now. When people say to you, how is Abuja? I'm like, I think my guys are fine. I used to say, I don't know, I think they're okay. I've got great guys there. I had to fire everyone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Everyone?
With the exception of 3 or so. I had to fire everyone and then have to restart the team again. As we speak, I'm recruiting for that team. Wow. And then when you look at that also is how do you pass that opportunity to another person? That's gone.
How do you
I'm never
open
even going to
yourself
trust
up?
anyone anymore again.
Exactly.
I'm never going to completely trust anyone because my life is so easy. I always tell people money will never be our problem because what I have, I'm happy to share. As a business, I also understand that as a business, you can't hold everything to yourself.
Absolutely.
So one of the things that I do is I try to give like equity to my staff, especially when they've stayed longer for a
Okay,
certain period.
that's
So that they
interesting.
have a skin in the game. The guy was due for 5% of that particular business. Actually, he's due for it in April.
Which would have been how many years in?
5 years in.
Does he understand that?
When I told him, I figured he did.
Especially the equity bit. Like he had so much at
I said,
stake.
yeah. But it got comfortable. It got influenced by external forces and he lost it.
So, what are you doing to mitigate against
So what you do is
those?
you can't get comfortable. And then you have to restructure your system. Obviously, there was a system failure also, which I take full responsibility for. And yes, there was a system failure. And also, I got comfortable trusting someone completely. That's never going to happen again. So right now, there's a whole lot of checks and balance. Look, for every role, I'm hiring 2 people. And there's
But
also
then that then
danger in
costs
that. It costs
the
more.
business
It costs,
more.
yeah, it does. It will, if my overhead, let's say, let's say 70 million naira annually in terms of wages and remuneration for the staff, it's still better than someone stealing 286 million naira from you.
True.
You will
You're
lose
saving.
you lose some level of profitability, but it is better than having to lose it to someone else who would end up blowing it on gambling. So it's the same way people say, oh, does it not cost you a lot flying back and forth? I said, let's wrap it up. Maybe I'll spend another 24 million naira flying for the year.
In a year.
And I'm hoping that, yes, as time goes on, I will find people who would also manage it and everything. But it's still better than losing that humongous amount of money to someone else. The margin becomes smaller, profit becomes really small as well, but you can actually build and sustain the business than someone else just basically wiping both your capital and your profit.
And even the brand name.
Yes.
Even the brand name.
Because you lose brand equity also.
Yes.
Because you're like, okay, what's going on? Does that guy not work for Liquid Up? Like, yeah, he works for Liquid Up and all that. I'm like, and then because of the life that he was living also, he was also compromising on the brand value.
Exactly.
So he became slightly open to people that ordinarily would not have access to Liquid Up. You know how Liquid Up is now. You know the kind of people, exactly. And, but then when they start rolling like that and rolling with people, they bring their friends over one way or the other.
Do you think you've found a way to hire the right kind of people? Is there a right kind of people, especially from the recruitment stage?
No, darling. No, you can't find the right people. You can find people, but you will never find a perfect thing. Right. You have to build and groom them and teach them. We're talking about formed people. It's very hard to change a formed adult. Even your teenage child, they already have their own personality. They're arguing back and forth.
The rebellion age.
They have their will, and they're strong-willed and all that. They have their opinion. Then imagine you having to hire a full-grown person. A lot of people will come in, yes, we get what you're trying to do. I'm here for you. We're going to do this together. But they lose it at the end of the day. But you still have to do your own work, and that's why you have to train. You have to tell them about your core value as a business. You have to teach them about your core value. You have to let them understand that this is what we're trying to do. So right now, I tell people when I'm recruiting, this is what we stand for. It's okay for you to say, oh, this is too much, it's too complicated, I can't do this. But don't come in and then pretending that, yes, you get it, and then you don't. Because we're going to teach you, we're going to train you. I also don't want to waste my time training and teaching you, and then we wake up one day to say, oh, I'm going, this is not what I want. You're grown enough to know that this is not the place for you. And if it's not the place for you, please by all means say it right there and there. Don't let us invest, because I actually invest my time. I do a lot of my training myself. I'm investing my time.
So it's like you're pouring yourself into people to be able to replicate.
Yeah. So because the business also can function without you. As you advance also, you can't build your business. You can't be the same person that is running and be the face of your business all the time. So you have to build capacity. And in building capacity, you have to use people to build that sort of capacity. It's finding people that you can train to be either mini you and find several mini yous to do the things that you want.
Right.
Otherwise, you can as well just go home and get a job somewhere and say, please, CEO, I have a report for you and all. Unfortunately, some of us are too entrepreneurial. We can't take a job anywhere anymore. We hire me.
That must be very heartbreaking, especially seeing the amount of yourself that you pour into people.
This guy in question, particularly, yes. People say to me, how do you feel? I'm like, it's the level of betrayal and the disappointment that I feel, because he would tell you that, thank you so much, ma'am. I know so much because of you. And it was a continuous thing. I'm like, and so what I said to them is, when you start having pressure, when you feel that the pressure is a bit too much, you can't go on, please come to me so we can talk about it. Because that way also I can find your help. So I had another manager who, I think the work pressure became too much for him. And of course, he was dealing with his own issue as well. And then I figured he was depressed. And I said, come back to Lagos. Let me find your help. I found a shrink. I found a coach. And I said, I will bear the cost of this and all that. People also need to fight their demons the way they want to fight it. You want to fix everybody, but some people don't even want you to fix them. And he refused to go for therapy.
Oh.
Yeah.
You brought him to Lagos, found him a therapist, and he refused to go to the therapist. What was his excuse?
Ego.
How will somebody be shrinking me? Wow.
Oh, why do I have to come back to Lagos? I've already done all this work in Lagos before. Why do I have to come back? I'm fine and all that.
Do you think he saw it as a demotion?
No, it wasn't. It was not supposed to be. It was, I needed you to get well. I need to make sure that you are fine. Because if you're losing your mind, even we as ogas, some days we lose our mind and you go back to yourself, where am I shrink? I need to talk to people. And it was just ego. So I had to let him go.
So he'd rather lose the job.
Yeah. Actually,
take the help.
He threatened that if I'm insisting that he should come to Lagos or you should stay in Lagos, then he'd rather go. And then you can't threaten me.
Wow.
You must never threaten your boss. Because what you're saying also to them is you're indispensable.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's no one that is indispensable. That means that you have to remember also that these people built their brand before you're existing in that space.
Absolutely.
So they can do it with or without you. You're a great value when you're there, and do your bit and add value to what you're
as expected.
Doing. Exactly, it's not free now.
As expected.
But if you then feel that the world evolves around you, or you're too good to let go, there will be 1,000,001 people that will do the exact same thing that you can do. Probably do it better.
Interesting. Now, speaking of scaling, the system obviously was good in Lagos, and you felt, it's time to expand. Let's try a new space and see what we can do. And then moving to Abuja, what informed that? Why a completely different territory? It could have been somewhere else in Lagos.
Okay, what I say that we do, I tell people, if you ask me, I say that one of the things that we do is to become a global brand.
Great.
So if we're moving to Abuja is good now. What if I wake up tomorrow and I'm saying I'm going to Kigali or Ghana, London?
We're expecting that too.
Yeah, but that's the only way successful people build stuff.
Absolutely.
You can't, you sound like my mom with that question. So my mom, after this whole fraud thing, said to me, I know you're already thinking you're going to the East African and all that. No, you can't do that anymore. And I looked at her, I'm like, excuse me? No, because someone did something to me doesn't mean I'm not going to do what I'm. It is
Yeah.
my vision. It is my goal to build a brand, a Nigerian brand across the globe. And because something happened won't stop me from doing that. You have franchises. You can franchise the brand. I don't have to be physically there, but I can say or have a partner there and say, this is what we're trying to do. And then you have a local partner to partner with you with your brand name, or you sell the franchise. And at some point when we started Liquid, I think 3 years in, I started getting a lot of calls. People come from outside Nigeria who are visiting, and they're like, oh, come and do this in Cameroon, come and do this in Kenya, come and do this. And for me, I figured to start diving into those other markets, at least you need to have 2-3 branches of your own first before you start talking about the franchise part of it. And where else would you go if not for the seat of power?
Absolutely.
That's another metropolitan city in the country. Where else, depending on what you're doing, for her, the brand must move to Abuja. And it was a good thing. Look at what is happening in Abuja now. Abuja is opening up.
Yes.
Abuja is involving. Lagos people have moved to Abuja. So you have that. And this was something I did before the last election. We opened Liquid of Abuja in 2022.
Oh, okay.
I took that space up in 2020, the COVID year. 3 months to set up, to renovate, set it up, and all of that.
Were you delayed by COVID?
I found the space was after COVID.
Okay.
It was post-COVID. Was it dead? It wasn't dead, but like abandoned structure. You have to redesign it. So that took time and all that. And I had to make it fit for purpose. So that took a while as well. And guess what? If you're able to do it successfully, you should think about the next space. Right. I say to people now that the next thing out of Africa is going to be food.
I've been hearing that a lot.
Yes. We've already exported music. We've exported our fashion. We've exported our heart already. What else do you think will be the next export out of Africa? It's the food and the culture. And you can't do culture without food.
So do you serve or do you offer mostly local cuisine?
No. No.
So what exactly are you exporting?
Thank you. It's called infusion.
Right.
Infusion.
Okay.
So it's how you're able to convince a Caucasian person to eat akara. You have to find a way that it will suit their palate.
And feels familiar.
Exactly.
So that's an import.
Import, yes. The same way, you can export your own cuisine as well. You just find a way to tailor it to the local palate there. So for starters, you have chicken tacos. The Mexicans didn't make taco with chicken.
Yeah. So that was blending.
That was our way of making it
edible for us. Interesting.
Shawarma.
So there are lots of things we consume now that
they were made our cuisines.
Interesting.
We just found a way to imbibe our own local flavor and all of that. The chili in your shawarma, the Lebanese people, the Asian people don't put chili in their shawarma.
Even pizza, when they serve you very hot and they do atarodo. I've seen dodo pizza. I've seen...
Italians don't serve... They don't serve suya on shawarma. It's a sacrilege,
exactly.
You understand?
Right,
but guess what? It's like this argument about pineapple on pizza. The Italians will kill for that. But guess what? They call it Hawaiian pizza because Americans found a way to...
It's that fusion. Have you had to adapt any of the things? I know it's still within Nigeria.
Yeah.
But was there any part of your business that you needed to adapt for, say, the Abuja market, for example? Because we're actually very different in...
Even as the geographical space and all of that?
Yes.
Unfortunately, no, not for me.
Okay.
It defeats the whole purpose of your brand. Adaptability is one of our core values, though, but it has to be in a space and how we basically channel what we are known for in that space. But it won't be that you're changing your entire offering because you're in a different space entirely.
Right.
Because that takes away from the brand. That's not what
Right.
you're known for.
Right.
So you have to stick to what you're known for. So if this is what we're known for our wines. Unfortunately, we don't make wines in Nigeria. I gave up on that idea a long time ago.
Oh, you had the idea.
Yeah, I did. I gave up on that idea a long time ago.
Perhaps it could be revived at some point.
I
Maybe.
don't think the investment that it requires to set up a winery in Nigeria, I'm not sure.
It's something you want to go into.
That's one. The return on that investment, I'm not sure it'll be worth it. You can make maybe like table wines, small vineyard and all of that and bottle them. Us as Nigeria as well now. You just don't want anything that is done like...
We do things, we do it well.
If you're not doing it well,
Go
don't
big
bother.
or go home.
Exactly. So I wouldn't dive into that. I did thought about it a long time. So maybe I could make wine for my own parties and stuff like that, but not to like commercial volume. No, I don't think so. So for starters, Liquid Up is known for their wine. We're known for our wines.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say because I'm going to Abuja and it's a northern state, I'm not going to offer wine. Because
That
when you
makes
get
sense.
there, you should
You'll
still
find your
feel
tribe.
the same, exactly. And then you should still feel the same way you will feel if you're in Lagos. You should still have the same offering, the same menu, the same wines and all that. So it shouldn't change because you're there. What you can adapt will be, okay, what do they like in this space, in this area? The northerners eat a lot of meat or a lot of beef and all of that. So you may say, okay, we can have more selection of beef on our menu and all that. So that would be a nice way to do that. So for starter, we don't do shisha. In the north, they smoke a lot of shisha.
So have you had to adapt that to your business? No.
No,
We're
just not a shisha place.
That's interesting.
And then you get a lot of people say, offer shisha, please.
Oh, so you have customers asking you.
Yes, I do. Even in Lagos.
There's the common rule of thumb with business where they talk about do things people want.
Yeah.
So if you're in a line of business and it looks like your customers also want some, how do you then manage that customer feedback to also make them feel like they're heard?
Fortunately, I always say that I love it when I get critics and all of that because it helps us to build better, reform, review and things properly. However, there are things that people are known for and they are known for that.
Signatures.
Exactly. So if we say there's so many places you can have shisha for starters. We have a cigar room. We have a cigar lounge. So if we say that we're a lifestyle brand, and we will keep it with that lifestyle. I mean, shisha is lifestyle. It's high maintenance. I just don't like it. And I just don't feel that.
And that's okay.
So the other thing also is you want to check what the majority of your clients want. Majority of our clients are not shisha people.
Right.
So if you have maybe 5% of the guests asking for something that you know the rest of them
it's
will
not
probably
worth
like. Yeah.
changing your culture for.
No.
So how has that's interesting. You're a globally certified sommelier.
Yes, I am.
How has that influenced your business, especially in Nigeria?
I think what is interesting is it's a good thing because it gives you some level of authority when you speak. People listen to you. And that knowledge of that you're not BSc your way out of anything, it's a good thing. And so I always tell people, if you must do anything, do it well. If you must be be certified, do the courses. It takes a lot from you, but you will do it. Because when you open your mouth, people will listen to you because you're not speaking from a place of not knowing. You're speaking from a place of knowledge and authority. And remember, I used to do the wine fair in Nigeria. I started the wine fair in 2010. I stopped it in 2014 rather, because I think I was ahead of my time.
Because that's really why I asked that question. And that's why I phrased it, especially in Nigeria. It's a very small circle thing. It's a niche thing.
It is a niche.
It's not like we have wine producing. We're not wine people majority.
We're not wine drinkers like that.
So did people even understand what it meant to be a
Actually, interestingly, yes, people don't forget. Nigerians are the most exposed people in the world.
Yes.
You will be amazed to know that an average Nigerian understands what sommelier is. They're not going to go to Google to go and
what's a sommelier?
But meanwhile, in other part of the world, people are still having to check what it is.
In other parts of the world?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. We are well-traveled. We understand good lifestyle.
Yes,
we
sir.
love luxury living.
Yes, sir.
We enjoy the good things of life. Because of that, and we have a lot of Nigerian schooling abroad as well. So we are very exposed people. We are very cultured people in the sense of travel, exposure. We want to know. There's hardly any place that I haven't seen, anywhere that I've been in the world that I have not found in Nigeria.
They said if you go anywhere and you
And there's
don't
no
find it,
Nigerian,
you
you
just
should leave that place,
leave.
exactly.
It's not safe.
Yeah. So I'll give you an interesting one. So I was walking with my kids, I think last year during summer in Florence. And we bumped into another Nigerian that we had bumped into. We met in Nigeria here. My son met her and her kids in the supermarket.
Oh, so he remembered.
Of course. Even I remember because they had to exchange numbers. So she became my friend also. And we bumped into the entire family again. I'm like, oh, what? How?
In the streets of Florence.
On the street of Florence. How did that happen? And I said, oh, we come here every year. Wow, interesting. After that, we bumped into another Nigerian. Just from strolling around.
Well, amazing.
A few years ago, I do this crazy thing, and God forgive me for it. I got on a bus. Yeah, I think it was in Frankfurt. I was going to Florence. There was a night bus that was going to take about maybe 17 hours because I'd missed my flight, and I would have to wait a day, 2 days to get on the next flight. So I just said, please, let me go on Google.
So you took a night bus?
I took a night bus. Behind me, you could hear the Yoruba and the Wafi. And I just kept quiet all through because I sat with this guy who was a professor. He was going somewhere in Germany. He was going to Ghent or something, or Cologne.
Okay.
And then Cologne, yeah. So he was talking and thinking, where are you from? I said, Nigeria. Oh, you have a lot of Africans behind. I said, yes, half of them are Nigerian.
I can hear them.
He said, oh, really? I said, how do you know what they are speaking? I said, well, I can hear the Yoruba one on the phone. I can hear the guy who is speaking Ni language and Wari and all. I said, how do you know? I said, yeah, because we know ourselves. And then, we are loud when you're on the phone.
We are loud. That's interesting.
So you find, that exposure alone creates its own benefit in terms of knowledge and wisdom. So we're very smart people. So I know what you're saying because you're thinking, sommelier in Nigeria, how do you even become a sommelier? I tell people that if there's anywhere that I actually love being a sommelier, it's Nigeria because I get to educate people.
Ah, beautiful.
I get to educate people. And when I find people who have the know of the wine culture and you have a lot of connoisseurs of good things and all that, it's interesting to have good conversation with them.
Right.
I love it when I have to have this sort of conversation. Plus, when I find myself in the wine region, as a Nigerian, a non-producing country, and I'm standing, most time I will probably be the only black person in the room. It gives me a sense of pride. Now, the Nigeria thing, they're like, here, I'm repping for Africa.
Yes.
I'm repping for Africa. And people look at
Nice.
you, I'm like, how?
How did
Do
you
you
get
guys
it?
wine in Nigeria? I'm like, no, we don't, but that doesn't mean we don't drink it. So we drink it. So from a service point of view, it is important to have more sommeliers in Nigeria. Because we actually...
Is there a huge community of that?
No. But I see that there's interest now.
Developing.
It's
now.
developing. At least I know that there are few sommeliers.
Do you think that would help the business better if more people showed interest?
Yeah. It would not just help the industry, it would help create jobs as well.
So there are alternatives to
Exactly.
the doctor. I mean, we all like to make those
so
jokes.
You know what is interesting? I tell people that people tend to underestimate the hospitality industry.
Right.
Because you can't actually separate hospitality from tourism.
Yeah, they're embedded.
Hospitality and tourism can fetch Nigeria trillions of dollars if it's well managed. And if we know how to project ourselves as a destination. But in not doing that, you just be like a regular restaurant, bar, hotel, and that's all you call tourism and hospitality. But it's a big economy, and we are sitting on massive revenue for the country, and we're just wasting our time not doing what we need
that's
to do.
the focus of some countries.
Some people don't have oil. Some people don't have any resources as much as we do, and you can imagine what they do.
So, though, seeing the experience that you have had, now I wouldn't say that you've had with staffs. It's not like it's a common occurrence. Is there anything in particular that you're doing to, one, introduce people into this line of work, one, two, to possibly see how you can develop a lot more so that it then in turn helps your business and other businesses like yours?
You don't even have a choice but to do that. You don't have ready-made waiting team for you to
So you're having to
hire.
build and
You have
build
to
and build.
You have to train. Even when you find experienced staff, you still have to teach and train them in your own way and teach them your style.
Right.
Because they might have 20 years experience in the hospitality space. And the application of what they have may not suit your brand.
Right.
So you have to say to yourself that, okay, so one of the things I tell people when they come to us is you have to first unlearn what you already know.
How do you find that? Do you
And
find that
relearn.
working? Especially when you have people who have had years of experience and they think they know.
No, when you come to me, you already know that you don't know.
How do you manage those people?
It's understanding people. It's the same way I think I'm a bit blessed when it comes to understanding people and dealing with people. If I deal with HNI, I deal with low-level clients as well, and I have a way to manage everybody's expectation as well. You're a bit grounded in that regard. So when it comes to staffing, you have no choice also. Plus, if they are sure that you're speaking from a place of authority and you can teach them, they listen to you. Regardless of their donkey years experience in the hospitality space. And all you need to do also is you lead by example. You show. You're not just preaching, you're showing also. And they can see. Okay, so I'll give you a classic example. Last week, we interviewed, maybe I interviewed like 10 different people for different roles. Chefs, for starters. I always tell the chefs, you may think that you've been cooking for God knows how long. When you get here, then you realize that, oh, what you think you know, you actually don't know. And then you also look at the ones that you know that, okay, this one's maybe gets it. We had a 55-year-old man come in. Usually I don't take very old people.
Older people. They're set in their ways.
Totally. But I love this attitude. He was willing to learn. He was willing, he's worked in the kitchen for 20-something years, but he was a hotel chef. And hotel, they do volume food, and this we're talking about a fine dining restaurant here. So I gave him a test. I said, okay, please go and make me something. Show me. Let me even know the basics of cooking. And then the methods and all of that. And I went upstairs, made a steak. And of course, the steak was dead when he came because he had overcooked it. What I do also when I'm talking to people, when I'm interviewing also, even if I'm not going to hire you, I spend that 10, 15 minutes educating you so that when you won't make the same mistake when you go somewhere else for a job interview. So I told them, and we all looked at ourselves and said, you have just killed this mate. Yours is now tinko. So because he didn't even understand the conditions to how to make steaks.
Oh.
So we said, okay, what conditions? Say, I just cooked it. I said, no. So we meant that was it rare, medium, and all that. It's well done. I said, this is over well done, sir. This is now tinko. So he laughed, and I said, okay, I would love to hire you because your demeanor, his spirit is good. He sat there just listening, even trying to take notes. So that's someone you can teach. That's someone who feels that I am willing to learn. So he says to me, I said, you know what? We may not be able to take you now because, what we're looking for, we need a little bit, at least the foundation must be there. But I'll do you a favor. When I have international chefs come in, because we do this from time to time, I bring in people, Michelin star chefs, to come work in our kitchen for 3 weeks. That way they're able to teach my chefs how to cook as well.
Okay, that's beautiful.
I think we have one coming in April. I will call you back. And you don't even need to work for us. Just come and learn.
Just come in within that period.
And learn. So you will find that. And then the other guy, of course, come see, come ça. But he's young. One is 23, and I saw that he's passionate about it. And then you tell them, are you willing to learn? Are you willing to forget everything you think you know? And they say, yes, they are. And then you could tell that he was eager. The girl who came was like, I want to work here. I just want to work here. Because when you're talking also, when you're interviewing, and they're listening to you, and they're hearing stuff that they've never heard before, it's intriguing if you're passionate about what you do. So this person said to me that, she just wants the job because she feels that she's going to be a better chef.
So in recruiting people, it's majorly about putting them within that right space,
yes,
that they can absorb your...
No, you must do that.
Selling them on... Because you have to want to be there.
Absolutely.
To be able to give yourself.
I always say to people when I'm recruiting them also is, if you don't want to work with my team, then there's a problem with you. Yeah. Because you would just find these people intriguing. They're young, they're active and all that. But it takes effort, it takes giving. So my current manager, she's half Nigerian, half Liberian, schooled in Switzerland, worked in Switzerland, schooled she has like multiple degrees and all that in hospitality and tourism. Oh. She was a chef, then she moved into operation. That person's an embodiment of knowledge. So if we run through a CV with you and tell you that this person is that, I am this, and you're listening to 4 of us talking to you, and you don't want to work,
there has to be something wrong with you.
Because you're looking at Barbara and then you're saying that, how can this woman know about this? And she's talking to you about stuff. And how can this woman know about? I'm like, when you look at the management thing, you must be able to learn from us. So if you're saying to us that I don't want the job, then you will only problem. No, you must have a major problem for you not to want to work. But the bad thing also is the Nigerian youth these days are not willing to take the leap. We're all looking for ready-made stuff. We just want to jump like that. You work for 3 years, you want to start driving a G-Wagon. Is it so?
You'll have to still eventually.
The process. We must understand that there's process to everything. And that process is key because those are the foundational period as a person. You must spend that time. People look at me and are like, how are you able to do all that? I just laugh. I say, you don't understand. 20 years ago, ask me what I was doing. Have I been consistent with the things that there were days that I used to drive this 5 Series, BM 5 Series. And this was when I started working for Distill. Okay. And I would use my own car to supply things around. If you open my trunk, there must be wine, there must be something there and all of that.
So you embodied what you were doing, even when it wasn't yours.
No, it wasn't. There were days I had to fly Okada. Imagine when I have to. So there are certain things that I took on that were not in my job description, like picking peels for starters. But I know that if we don't have wine on the shelf of ShopRite, we're going to lose sales. And my guys haven't gone to pick the peel. I will get on the bike. If there's traffic, park your car, get on the bike. And I used to wear a miniskirt back in those days. Get on the bike with my miniskirt to go and pick the peel and take it.
Without being asked.
Of course you can't.
Just your agency.
You just pick it up and take it to the warehouse. And I didn't have to do that. In short, even going into places to go and say, come and buy our product, I didn't have to do that. My job was different. But I figured that if you must do anything,
that had to be in place.
There were days that I had to man the supermarket and become the merchandiser. I remember a lot of people that I met, quite a lot of people when I was standing.
Doing that?
Yeah, standing by a table trying to sample wines. I didn't have to do that. We had people who were wine samplers. But I will go and stand at Pack and Shop back in those days, goodies. And I have friends that I've met that are still my friends till tomorrow from doing that.
from doing what was not your job,
Wasn't
but
my
you
job
gave
to
yourself
yourself.
to.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
But I remember when I said I was leaving the company, my boss was a British guy, and he goes, "No, let's give you marketing director." I got this email from South Africa. I'm like, "No, I'm done." You must do what is expected of you, and do it beyond your own expectation as well, because doors will always open. So there's no way, because I took the job like it was my business. I took it, that sense of ownership. We underestimated
What was
it.
driving you? What
I don't
was your
know.
drive?
It wasn't money, Sha, because I wasn't well paid then. Hospitality found me.
It found you. So while you were doing that, what was the drive? Did you just want to see how much you could take, how much you could do?
No, I don't know.
Or you were
It's
just
interesting.
restless?
As you can tell, I'm very hyper. I'm always like this. So I can't even say what it was. I can't say this was a driving force for me then. It was just, I got a job. I have a job. And I need to do the job. And I need to do the job. Maybe upbringing also. So my parents would say that whatever you find yourself doing, do it well. So maybe upbringing. Because I don't know. It wasn't money, like I said. It wasn't... I was probably being paid 40K or 50K or something ridiculous like that. Maybe 60K. So between... I know this. They started off with me from 40K. Do you understand? So it wasn't money. It was just me and my passion to give excellence in everything I do.
Passion to give excellence in everything,
In everything I do.
Interesting.
So it was just that. It was just, okay, what do I need to do to get what I need to get? Jump on Okada. Of course I would jump on the Okada and go and do it. There were days I used to drive from here to... I've driven from Lagos to Warri before. Yeah.
On the job.
Yes.
Amazing.
But this was for my business, though.
Oh.
But I just returned from childbirth, and I had this gig in Warri, and my driver was acting funny. So I told the other driver, please, you drive the truck. I will drive my car. I carried my breast pump with me.
Super mom mode activated.
My baby was at home with my mom. Yeah, it was 3 months. I carried the breast pump, and I extracted breast milk so that my baby can still
that
eat
you
when I
have
go. And I'm
time
not a
to
gog
go.
and all of that. But I worked 3 days. I came back, and I was back to being a mom again. And then I remember the client looking at me and saying, "You came yourself?" I'm like, if I don't come, who's going to come? No, you should have sent your boy. I said, hey, then you're not telling me that something went wrong.
You went wrong.
It was, so at the time also, even during my pregnancy, with Timilene especially, I was activating for Nigerian Brewery. I would move from Enugu to Port Harcourt to Abuja, back to Lagos to do the activation again.
Driving.
No, flying.
Okay.
But I was heavily pregnant. I was 8 months gone.
What is most profound about this is that you've had practice.
Yeah.
If you were already used to giving excuses when you were working with somebody else,
no, of course, there's no
you
way
would
you can
struggle
do
because you're the perfect excuse. Come on, you just had a baby.
No.
But you've had practice.
I used to carry my babies to work. Put them, even when I'm activating, maybe we have a function, I put them in the, what's it called? Stroller. They stand there, mommy's behind the bar.
So how do you manage young people today, given the
I don't know
culture?
how you guys do this Gen Z people. Especially because of what you guys, I'm sure you're dealing with a lot of Gen Z and all that. But I think I've been blessed also. Because when young people come to me, I speak from personal experience when I teach them. And they listen. If you're not listening to me,
then there's something. You don't want to work with someone who's not listening.
So I think I've been blessed to have, and quite a lot of people have done well also by just working with and just seeing. I have a couple of people that have moved abroad now, and this from time to time they text me saying thank you so much. I get a lot of emails or messages saying to me, thank you so much. Everything I know today because of you. You've invested so much in my time, and it's paying now. My bosses here are wondering how I'm able to do this. The ability to juggle a lot of balls also helps. So when people look at you, they look at you and say, okay, we want to follow this way. You have to make yourself a mentor.
So leadership.
Yeah.
You need to lead first by example.
Also. Yes.
You did say
Yeah.
that.
You have to lead
And
by
you
example.
also mentioned something that when you're in a line, right? Do everything it takes to, I think the way you put it was, if you need to get certified,
Absolutely.
do everything it takes to become an
Absolutely.
authority
Yeah.
at what you do.
You need it.
You inspire your customers, you inspire your staff, you basically inspire everything around your business. It is essential for a leader to know what they're doing. Because
Absolutely.
a lot of young people feel, people go into entrepreneurship thinking,
It's
I just
easy.
want to have control of my time.
It's not things. You're
You
doing
know,
that.
as
The thought of
loud-
that, you're already going to business for the wrong reason.
wrong.
For the wrong reason. And I also tell people there's nothing bad with you starting off as an entrepreneur, but it's important that you work for people also, because you build more capacity by doing that. You understand structure. You understand when you have to wake up at 6 o'clock. There are certain things that you will not learn. You learn on the job when you start to sharp. And maybe failure would also help
Will
you
teach
learn
you.
that. Yeah. But it's nice to at least have a little bit of experience working for others. Then you can
I
dive
think
into...
I agree with that.
You can delve into starting your own afterwards. It's a foundational period, and you cannot underestimate that.
Interesting. This has been a very interesting chat. I want to ask rapid fire question. What's the best wine pairing for a typical Nigerian dish?
Melo and suya.
Okay.
The melo, grape, and suya
Nice.
is a good one for a Nigerian dish. Also, I would say a nice cold Sauvignon Blanc and amala, begiri and ewedu.
I'm so trying that.
Yeah, but make sure the red sauce itself is not so spicy.
Okay, so less spice in the obe.
Yes.
Almost zero spice.
You can have a
Blanc.
little spice, but it's just a nice Sauvignon Blanc.
Okay. Beautiful. What's one habit that keeps you productive?
Habit. I don't think I have one. I don't think so. That keeps me productive. Habit that keeps me productive.
Can I borrow you one? Being restless.
But is that? I don't think that's a habit. I think that's just an inner thing, so to say. I don't know. It just happens.
It's just you. It just happens. Okay. If you had to describe your business style in one word, what would it be?
One word. Authentic.
I love that. Authentic. What's the most expensive lesson you've learned in business?
Trusting people 100%. 100% trust in
Trusting
in
people.
human. No, you should never do that.
That's
At least
sad. Keep a little bit to yourself. Don't give it all. Not 100%.
No, I've always felt that if you can't trust people, then why have
deal
them?
with them in the first place?
I'm learning the hard way.
So maybe not 100% anymore. You keep a little.
I can't even
10%.
I don't do 60% anymore.
Oh wow, that
bad.
deep.
Yes. The other thing for me would be don't always assume that people are doing what you want them to do. A lot of people are actually just out there doing their whole biddings.
And they're forming for you. When they see you, they make it sound like they're doing what you're supposed to do.
All over the place.
God help us.
Yeah.
Finish this sentence. In Nigeria, if you don't dash, you won't survive.
If you don't dash, you won't survive. If you're not strong, you won't survive.
Nice. So I want you to say a phrase
Okay.
or a proverb, whatever, in your language that reflects your business philosophy. It could be a proverb, it could be a phrase, it could be your mom's voice in your head.
My mom's voice in my head will be Omoto Bani Akindegwe.
What does that mean?
Akindegwe. A motherless child must not have a back injury because who's going to nurse him?
Oh, that's deep. I've never heard that before.
Are you serious? So that's like my layman interpretation. I think my understanding and the interpretation of that would be you have to remember the child of who you are. Don't do anything that will put you in danger or that can ruin your life because you probably don't have people coming to save you. So if
Ọmọ
you
tí
don't
ò bá
know,
níyá
Kindegwe,
kì í dégbò ẹ̀yìn.
you know how your mother is nursing your injury and all of that. So imagine you now having an injury behind you.
Where your
So
hand cannot reach.
So who's going to nurse you back to life?
Thank you very much.
Thank you too.
So I would like you to write a question that you'd like the next entrepreneur on this show to answer. Secondly, what word would you like our next guest to just generally interpret?
Let me phrase this properly.
Great. You've just heard from Aderonke Bamgbade, her real stories, her real strategies. What if your next move could actually change your life and you didn't have to figure it out all by yourself? You've learned from someone who built, scaled, successful ventures. Until next time, remember, real stories, real strategies. That's how empires are built.